Okay, so last night we watched Willy Wonka.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And
yes.
we got to talking about it, and just like I always do in my fashion, sometimes I flippantly say things too, like my brother.
Like Jeremy.
And you know what, dude? You just, because Chris Jr. was older, you never really got to hang out with him as much, but he's like that too. He says some pretty funny, he was just much older. Like when you were coming around, he was mostly out of the house, but he says some really off the wall, just hilarious stuff. But anyway, we were watching Willy Wonka last night, and I out of the blue was like, bro, Willy Wonka's an egregore.
which really blew my mind, because look, like I told you last night, I've seen that movie like probably 50 times. Like that was one of those ones that if it was on TV in my house growing up, we were watching it. Like we were going to watch it.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I watched. I was probably like in the 6th grade, dude. I used to watch it in school, and it's an awesome movie. If you haven't seen the original Willy Wonka with Gene Wilder, definitely go watch it.
Yeah, it's legendary.
But we were talking about it last night, and you know, with a new lens, with a lot of these topics we discuss, and that's kind of something we've been doing. Like, you know, Nick lives 2 hours away, so he'll make the journey a couple times a month. We record in batches.
The hero's journey.
The hero's journey. And we're in this trend right now of watching a movie every time we get together. Like last time was 2001. This time was Willy Wonka. I really want to watch The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus.
I have never seen that one. So anybody out there that wants to throw me some hate for never having seen that one, that's okay.
Dude, that's a really obscure movie. Like most people don't know what that is.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's super obscure.
I've heard a lot about it.
Yeah, because your wife.
Yeah, she loves
but she likes obscure things.
Yep.
She's really artsy. It's a very interesting film. But anyway, so we were watching Wonka last night, and I just was like, oh my God, the homie's an egregore.
Ryan does this thing. You know what I'm realizing?
What?
You're the exact opposite of your brothers. You do the opposite of being flippant. You make it as epic as possible. If you're gonna say something, if you're gonna drop a little nugget, a little statement, it's gonna be so epic. So we're all just sitting there.
You know who else is like that?
Who?
My dad.
Good point, Ryan. Good point.
My dad is like
father,
that.
like son.
Dude, you should listen to his interviews.
I do listen to his interviews. I love listening to your dad. First of all, your dad just has like the best voice.
Yeah,
like,
he
your
does.
dad's
Like
voice
Matthew McConaughey.
is amazing. But I mean, the things that he
over top.
that was originally in the
dad.
theme song, by the way. If you guys listen to the end of the episodes, I don't know if it's in there. That was one of the quotes that was
I think
originally.
you took that one out. Yeah,
okay.
We sampled me and my dad.
Yeah, in the theme song. But anyway, yeah, he's very hypnotizing the way that he talks. He's so...
Wait, I just had a realization, dude.
What?
I'm not sure if people know you made the theme song.
Yeah,
I don't think we've addressed that, man.
I mean, maybe not like...
And like your wife made the art. Dude, we should...
Yeah.
That's kind of like a big deal.
We talk about it on Twitter.
Bro, right now, plug your SoundCloud, man. Talk about it.
Oh, okay.
We'll come back to Willy Wonka.
Okay, yeah.
Talk about Monogon.
Yeah, I've been making music since I was a kid. I really love just like playing around with music. We talk about that a little bit. Like me and Ryan used to make music. But I also, I have dabbled in just about every type of music you can imagine. Dude, I've even dabbled with like film score. Like, I downloaded these patches and stuff. This was years ago, of like these hyper realistic, they're actually samples of real orchestra instruments. I've done that. I've done, I love hip hop. I love lo-fi music. So my latest kind of like obsession, though, over the past, I'd say about 5 years, is lo-fi music. For those of you who aren't familiar, lo-fi is just a really chill, really vibey kind of genre of music. It's usually a simple beat with like a jazzy chord progression or like a jazzy sample behind it. And so, I really have only made like a couple songs a year here and there, just kind of when I find time. But anyway, yeah, if you want to check it out, I'm on SoundCloud under the name Monogon. It's like a polygon, but Monogon. I thought I was cool when I came up with that.
Dude, it's geometry.
Cool. Yeah.
Oh, it's geometry.
There you go.
I always wondered what Monogon meant. Why didn't I just ask you?
Yeah, it's like, what's funny? And what's funny? We talk a lot about these downloads. That was one of them. Like
the Monogon thing?
Yes. I was literally like raking my parents' yard or something one morning and wasn't thinking about like anything. And the thought hit me like, if there's a polygon, there has to be, that implies that there's a monogon.
Well, I've heard of the concept of nonogon infinity, which is like 9 points. Nine.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even know about that. That's
nonogon.
incredible.
No, yeah, who knows, dude? I mean, I'm not like a geometry mathematician, but I'm pretty sure there's monogon.
But anyway, yeah. So yeah, I did the theme music. It's like which by the way, another download. I made the theme music, and for those of you who have heard, of course, if you listen to the podcast, you've heard the theme music. The cool little weird the weird alien noise in the beginning that sounds like a UFO or something crazy. Yeah. That was a download. I made the song, and I was literally playing it over and over, with Casey in the room. This just kind of feels like it's missing something. It just needs something else. And Casey starts telling me some kind of suggestion.
Which Casey is your wife?
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, Casey's my wife. For those who don't know. So she's explaining to me, trying to help me, suggest some things to me or something. And as she's talking, I can hear it in my head. I heard it. It came into my head. It was intrusive. I heard it in my head, and I literally had to stop her and was like, stop. I'm sorry. I heard something. I have to do it right now so I don't forget it.
I'm going to cheese on you a little bit, dude.
Oh gosh.
Your most recent song you did, A Visitor Sunrise?
A Visitor at Sunrise.
A Visitor at Sunrise. That's one of the most epic pieces I've ever heard.
Thank you so much. That is
it's epic.
Thank you, man. That's so cool. That is from the soundtrack of a 1970s horror film called The Visitor, which, this is a crazy synchronicity, by the way. It's an Italian horror film, and so the actual name of it is Stridellum or something like that. Stridulum. So, somebody out there will know.
Yeah, we'll find it.
And it's apparently a cult classic. People love this movie. But me and Ryan's good friend Raven Sullivan.
Shout out Raven, we love you, brother. Shout out Raven,
we love you so much. He and I have the exact same birthday, by the way. We were born 2 hours apart in the same hospital on the exact same day, and we didn't meet till we were 14 or something like that, 15. But anyway, Raven is he's really awesome. He has fantastic taste in everything, but he finds incredible music, and he'll send it to me and be like, dude, you got to sample this. So he sent me that. He sent me this track. It's called Sadness. The track is called Sadness from the movie Stridellum. It's called The Visitor. But and as I was listening to it over and over and over, trying to figure out how to make it into a song, I kept picturing a samurai standing on a hill at sunrise and seeing a UFO and thinking it was a foe, kind of reaching for his katana, am I gonna have to fight this thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just kept picturing that the whole time I was making it, and I kind of used that as a roadmap while I was making that song to keep that really somber tone, but then there's this really exciting break at the end of it that's just this the kind of the tone kind of shifts a little bit. Anyway, enough about me. Thank you very much. That's a huge compliment. I just have a lot of fun making music. So
exciting times ahead, because we are now going to be making music as a duo called Twiceborn.
That's going to be heavy metal music. It's going to be
a heavy metal theme song cover.
Yeah, okay, let's do it. Let's announce it. We're going to do a cover of the Bledsoe Said So theme song in the heavy metal genre. So it's going to be heavy distorted guitars and chugs, and Ryan's got his beautiful new drum set. He's going to rip that thing to shreds. It's going to be very high energy. We're going to throw in some surprises.
And maybe put it on special episodes of the pod, dude.
Yeah, we'll definitely.
Maybe we'll use that as the theme song for special episodes.
We will. We will. It's going to be really cool. Give us a few weeks to get that out to you.
It might be several weeks.
Might be.
We have day jobs too.
Of course. Yeah. But we'll have that out to you guys at some point. So.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
Yeah. But over the past 5 years or so, I've been kind of on my own making music. Ryan hasn't had a drum set, and so I just kind of decided to try the lo-fi thing, and it's just fun for me. I don't have a ton of songs.
Dude, my favorite is your Samus track.
Which one? I have two Samus tracks.
The Lower Brinstar.
Lower Brinstar. That was actually. This is funny. That's actually Casey's little brother Carter. That was his idea.
Oh, really?
Honestly, guys, if you have any movie soundtracks, TV show soundtracks, video game soundtracks, or otherwise like any song that you think would be cool for me to sample and turn into like a beat or a song, please like tag me on Twitter or tag Ryan or like
let's throw your Twitter up. I think we plugged it in the last episode.
It's Firminitas Nick. If you guys interact with Ryan on Twitter, you've probably seen me. I comment on like every single post. So if I'm there, yeah, please, if you guys have any ideas, that's my favorite thing to do. Is I love getting ideas from other people and then kind of making them come to life, because then it's almost like a shared experience.
Yeah.
You know, like when I was finished with A Visitor at Sunrise, I sent it to Raven and he was like, dude, I feel like I'm a part of this.
Yeah.
I'm like, you are. This wouldn't have happened without you. I wouldn't have found this. You know, who knows? I wouldn't have found this song without you.
Dude, I think it's so funny that I came to you and I was like, all right, bro, for the theme song, I want it to feel like the X-Files, but hip hop. And then that's all I said. That's all I said. And what you came up with is it's legendary, dude.
Thank you so much. That's really nice of you. I have an odd relationship with like my own securities with my music and stuff like that.
Silence your inner critic, dude.
Well, honestly, with a lot of the concepts that we learn about manifestation and believing in yourself and stuff like that, it has helped me, and I think some of my best work has been coming out.
Hey, bro, since
recently.
This is the archetype episode,
yeah,
we're gonna come back to the Willy Wonka thing, but I got to tell this right now
because
this is technically on topic for the episode.
Okay.
So, did you watch Luca?
No, oh my gosh.
God,
Ryan,
dude.
that is the third time.
Bro, watch it like tonight or tomorrow.
We will. It's
amazing.
Just because you just suggested it, we'll watch it tonight, because this is now the third time in a week I've been suggested Luca.
It's great.
Tell me.
One of the main quotes of the film, like the driving thing that helps Luca develop his heroic journey, I guess you could say, is Silencio Bruno. And he's this... Well, I don't want to go too much into the plot of the film because I know a lot of people might really want to watch it.
Yeah.
I'm going to try not to spoil it too hard, but they're basically like fish people that they're like mermaids, kind of.
Oh, I had no idea.
They
I
live
know
under
nothing
the sea.
about this movie.
They live under the sea, and basically Luca has this fascination with like the overworld, like out of the ocean.
Like Little Mermaid?
Kind of, yeah. But when they step on the land, they turn into humans. So Luca and this friend he meets, who's also one of the like fish people, they try to like merge in with being a human in the town, and it's really adorable, dude. It's definitely a feel good kind of movie.
Love it.
It's not like an action movie or anything like that. It's just like a little boy trying to fit into the town, and he's very curious, but he's scared. He's scared to like break the rules. Mom and dad he has this mom and dad are like really strict, and they tell him like, you can't do that, you can't do that. So his friend who he meets is like a bad boy. He lives on his own. He doesn't follow the rules, and he kind of pushes Luca to turn into this heroic bad boy by saying like Silencio Bruno, and they shout it over and over. Silencio Bruno. Every time Luca's scared, he's like, I can't do it, dude. I can't ride the bike. His homie would just be like Silencio Bruno, and basically that means shut up. Don't think about it. Just do it.
Oh, nice.
Silence your inner critic, dude. I think that's some that's some occult programming type stuff. Like I think this is a fringe like what if Ryan thing. I think there are concepts in movies and film that they put out there that resonate with us and can teach us profound lessons.
So you think some of the
silence your inner critic? I think that's.
You think some of like the good players in these organizations are trying to leak these like positive messages?
Yeah, I don't think it's all bad. Dude.
Right.
But
yes.
Silence your inner critic. I think that's a very important message. It's an archetype, right? I think the movie Luca, dude, literally. You've got to watch it. They have tarot cards in it, basically.
Whoa.
Like I'm trying to get it together. I saw it about a month ago. In the very beginning of the film, there's this group of people on a boat, and they're like fishing, and it makes a big deal to center the camera on a card, like a playing card, like a Joker playing card. It's a trickster. It's an archetype.
Yeah. So
the tarot cards are just archetypes.
Right. And that's what this episode is about, everybody. We're gonna rein it back in. This episode's about archetypes, which you could probably explain a little bit.
Yeah.
What an archetype is.
So we were watching Willy Wonka last night,
yes.
And I said, "Oh my God, he's the archetype of the trickster. This is like an egregore." So that concept is that you have, for example, Loki. That's probably the most popular version of the trickster that we've ever heard of.
He's literally called the trickster god.
Yeah, and it's the concept that in mythology, in archetypal imagery, symbolism, whatever, there's always this force of nature that serves to subvert or to like overturn institutional beliefs and things of that nature through trickery, through mockery, through humor, kind of like what our goal is for this podcast, kind of like overturn stigmas about certain things and being an experiencer. I make the crystal joke every episode, or at least a reference to crystals in every episode, just because it's like I'm just trying to keep bringing it up to, destigmatize certain topics. But so Willy Wonka is totally, in my opinion, he's like the archetype of the trickster. You know who else is? Jim Carrey has played certain films in his life that are the Green Man.
Dude, Jim Carrey himself.
Grinch.
Jim Carrey himself is a trickster.
Right.
Yeah, the Grinch, the Mask. Like,
the Mask.
Yeah,
the Mask, bro.
Dude, the Riddler.
The Riddler, and he's asking, questions, I guess, which is, think about, dude, this is weird. Okay.
Okay.
This is really weird.
Okay.
This is just like deep thoughts I have, and I've never really like explained them to anybody, so this might kind of sound weird off the cuff. But, okay, Heath Ledger played the Joker, and it's probably one of the most legendary film roles of all time. You know, everybody when we were in middle school was obsessed with Heath Ledger Joker.
It's an incredible performance.
And it's funny, bro, because the main thing from that film is why so serious, right? Why so serious? It's got this whole dark concept of like everything is just silly, like I don't know, like the Joker, like you saw the Joaquin Phoenix.
Well, his
version.
his whole like philosophy in the Heath Ledger one, his whole philosophy is like, why would I take anything serious? This is the world is chaos. The world is madness. That's literally his entire thing. So he's like, if the world is madness and chaos and nothing means anything, then like, why so serious? Why should I be serious about anything?
So it's Joker,
kind of nihilistic.
So we're going to kind of analyze the archetype of the Joker for a second. This is just kind of like an exercise, kind of like an intellectual exercise, right? This is just what if. It's just pondering. But the Joker is literally a clown, right? That's obvious.
Yeah.
What is a clown? A jester.
A trickster.
A trickster. A Joker. The Joker card, the playing card, or like in tarot, the Fool, the trickster.
Yep.
And I think that's some powerful archetypal symbolism. And then you get into bat symbolism and archetypal imagery, and bats symbolize being connected to the unconscious mind.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So the Joker is heavy archetypal imagery, and then of Loki, like the mythological trickster, right?
Yeah.
So Jim Carrey was the Riddler, another trickster, but it's all about asking questions. It's all about mockery. It's all about silly antics. Like Willy Wonka, dude. He walks up with a cane. He pretends to
he's about to
be
fall
all
over.
Crippled, and then he falls over and he does a front flip, and it was all a prank. And then the whole and then he's just pranking everybody through the factory the whole time. It's all pranks. He's just messing with people.
Yeah, the whole time, the entire movie.
Yeah, and then you find out he's really just like he comes off as borderline insane, but really he's a genius.
And you know what's really wild to think about with specifically Willy Wonka? A lot of these trickster archetypes, the characters or people who fill this trickster archetype, the Mad Hatter, they're not just silly for silly's sake. They have like
it's genius.
It's genius, and they have like a real goal in mind doing it, but they go about it in a silly way as to maybe not intimidate or whatever. But like, for instance, Willy Wonka's being silly and goofy the whole movie, but his actual motive the entire time was to test the children there to find which of them is worthy and pure of heart to take on his legacy.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, he's silly and he's being funny and whatever, but he's like a shaman or something, dude. He's like guiding Charlie on this like hero's journey, this like spiritual, like this. Literally, it was like he presented him with the hero's test.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, before we get too much further, so this archetype thing that we're talking about, there are 12 like main archetypes. I'm gonna just go over them real quick.
Yeah.
We're only gonna touch on a few of them this episode. I mean, maybe the ones that are the most common or that
like the hero, the trickster.
So you have there's 12. You have the innocent, the everyman, the hero, the outlaw, the explorer, the creator, the ruler, the magician, the lover, the caregiver, the jester or trickster, and the sage.
Now, I believe that these, 12 archetypes?
There's 12.
These 12 archetypes are present in all reality. Like when you're born, we talked a little bit about astrology in the last episode. I personally believe, depending on your alignment of the celestial bodies and whatnot, when you're born, certain archetypal energy is imprinted on your being.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
You know, and we all have different archetypes, but it all boils to those 12. It all boils down to those 12. Now, The Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, amazing film.
Oh my god!
But he's not just like it's. You know what I love about that movie, dude? For the first half of the film, by the way, major spoilers about the Joker.
And take this seriously. That it might be like a comic book movie, but if you're like,
it's a fantastic film.
If you're holding off watching it because it's like a comic book movie, don't look at it like that. It's way bigger than that.
No, it's one of my favorite films ever made. I've watched it 3 or 4 times.
It's truly a masterpiece, and I hate to say it, but most comic book movies are awesome, but they're maybe not like masterpiece level.
Yeah,
that is a masterpiece.
Yeah, it's not even an action film.
No,
it's
like a psychological thriller.
It's like a thriller, yeah. So major spoilers, and we're going to get into that and how it's archetypal imagery. Now, the Joker is obviously the trickster.
Yeah.
Now, what's so amazing about this movie is he's also kind of on a hero's journey.
Yeah, good point.
You know,
good point.
But here's what I got from the film. He really is a comedic genius, but his comedy is so dark, so profoundly disturbing that like most people don't get his humor.
It's too fringe.
And it's too fringe. Like his humor is literally causing mass riots and affecting societal change through destruction and
That's
chaos.
a trickster, dude.
Yeah, he's a real trickster. Like but there were issues because it's based on Taxi Driver and then one other film I can't remember. Taxi Driver and something else. So this movie is an homage to what is it, dude?
I don't know. Let me look it up while you're talking.
Yeah,
I'll look
Taxi Driver and The King of Comedy, maybe?
Yeah, that's it. The King of Comedy.
Yeah.
I think that's another Robert De Niro movie.
It is. It's the same. He's on the news and everything. Like the TV
he's in
guy.
the movie, yeah.
But what I love about this movie, this is going to sound so dumb, but what I love about this movie is the Joaquin Phoenix character, like he's really artsy. He's great at dancing. He's
very like free spirited.
He's very free spirited, but he's just like timid and sensitive, and he's kind of like insane, but he's kind of like he's kind of like.
Well, this is how I look at it. I like how you said he's kind of on the hero's journey because it's almost like
he's the hero.
Yeah, it's almost like in the first half of the film. You really don't know which way it's gonna go.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You do if you know the character, the Joker, of course, but like. It could go either way, and it just happens that like all these like bad circumstances in his life sort of pushed him towards a more chaotic direction, and so it ended up that way. But I feel like it just as easily could have gone in the opposite direction.
But what's so funny, dude, is they make a major point in the movie to show that he fantasizes about being on Robert De Niro's program, and then he shows up on the program and he kills him. He kills him. And then he kills him. Yeah. Oh. No, but it's just funny, man, because like he has this profound imagination, right?
Yeah.
It makes a big point in the movie to show that he has this deep, vivid imagination. Now, again, naturally, he's insane, so he imagines it one way and it goes another way. Yeah. But in some way, his imaginations come true. To me, that's some mystical stuff, like teaching you your imagination is your manifestation. I believe that we need to really do deeper research on Neville Goddard, but he's a mystic from the 30s or 40s, and his whole life's work and career was teaching people that through imagination you can change your life.
You can change the world.
Now, don't look to the Joker as an example of how to do it.
We're gonna go back to Willy Wonka. Literally, the lyric is, "Want to change the world? There's nothing to it." That's literally in the song.
In a world of pure imagination.
Come with me and you'll see a world of pure imagination. And then in the same song, he literally says, want to change the world. There's
Willy
nothing
Wonka
to it.
Imagined his little paradise.
Yep.
And like, I guess obviously it's a movie, so that, you can't just imagine a chocolate factory and it appears. But like you could imagine that you were like successful in your life and you imagine. Now here's what I think on a psychological.
Oh, wait, real quick. Sorry. Also in that song, he literally says, anything you want to, do it, view it, there's nothing to it. Like, yeah, he's literally
also like we are the music makers and
we are the music makers, we are the dreamer of dreams. Like, he's straight up just like manifesting his reality.
Oh yeah, they asked him like, what's a snozberry? And he looks at the kid and he goes, We are the music makers. We are like I created a snozberry. You don't have to know what it is. Yeah. No, but the profound thing behind Willy Wonka and how he's the trickster of the egregore of the trickster is literally it's a mystical, imagine your reality, create it, manifest it, and like sometimes genius comes off as a little bit crazy to other people.
Look at Kanye West.
Oh yeah, dude.
I would consider him a genius, but like, he's also a little cuckoo.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
He literally says, "Bipolar's my superpower."
Yeah, bipolar's my superpower.
Yeah, in that album. But from a psychology perspective, when you use your imagination vividly, you're stimulating your unconscious mind to believe that version of reality. So in some way, like here's where I believe science and spirituality and everything is merged. Like as we go to the age of Aquarius, I think we're going to learn deeper truths about our consciousness and what we really are in this realm, in this multiverse, whatever. I think visualization. I've read books on how you can hypnotize yourself, and there are studies that show if you visualize, even your biceps becoming stronger over time, it works, and like you can actually develop physical strength through intense meditation and visualization. Hypnosis is real, visualization is real, whatever. I believe there's something profoundly mystical to the concept that through vivid imagination, you can rewrite beliefs in your unconscious mind. Now, when you do that, it's not about like imagining things and then your life, you just wake up one day and you're in a new place. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
What I'm saying is if you visualize and imagine success or imagine happiness or imagine this or imagine that, and you really visualize it and imagine it and convince yourself to believe in a certain thing, your unconscious mind will drive you to form new habits to change your life to become closer and closer to that goal.
Yeah, it's like your physical body kind of aligns.
It will react to what your unconscious mind believes.
And it kind of puts you on that path.
For example, if you believe you'll never be successful, you never will.
Because it changes your physiology.
It changes your physiology.
It changes your actual brain waves. Like it puts a
your actual brain waves. Yeah, exactly. So that's what I think is so profound about the imagination thing. The Joker's literally, explore the myth and the ritual of the film. I took a class in college, by the way, which was awesome, and it was in the summer, so it was like a 2 or 3 hour long class once or twice a week, and we would watch. It was a religion class because again, I did do part of my studies in that, and we would watch films and we would explore the myth and the ritual of them. Like we watched The Matrix and we talked about how it's Buddhism, Gnosticism, whatever. We watched The Godfather, and we talked about the concept of evil and does true evil exist, whatever. But there's a myth and a ritual being told in these films.
Yeah.
Right? Like the Joker, it's an archetypal myth. Mm-hmm. Willy Wonka, it's an archetypal myth. The Mask with Jim Carrey, it's literally Loki's mask. You remember that?
Yeah, they say
it's
it
Loki's
in the movie.
mask.
It's Loki.
It's a trickster. It's the trickster god.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think the trickster itself, I don't think the phenomenon and the trickster are so far apart. Bro, there's an episode of Supernatural where they deal with the trickster, and when it first appears, it's a UFO. And
way.
And it abducts these kids on a college campus.
That show started great.
It did. It started amazing.
Yeah.
But like literally the first trickster episode, a UFO abducts these kids on college, and then some other stuff happens that looks like other things. And it's kind of like a whimsical episode. And then you find out it's just a trickster and it can like alter reality and whatnot. Later in the show, the trickster is revealed to literally be the Archangel Gabriel.
Oh my gosh. What?
Yeah, again, I believe there is a myth present in film and pop culture that may have some real, resonance behind it. It may be some real stuff. These beings that my family have experienced, yes, they told my dad they were angels, they work for creation, but I kind of believe they have a trickster vibe. Like Jim Semivan tells me that all the time. There's a trickster element to the phenomenon.
Wow.
Now, I used to think, well, that's evil. No, it's not. I don't think the trickster is evil because Thor wouldn't be the hero he is, the mythological version of Thor, without Loki.
Yeah. And also it almost
Jesus wouldn't be Jesus without Judas.
Yeah. If the phenomenon is like displaying kind of trickster attributes, it's almost like a way of it could almost be looked at as a way of the phenomenon kind of telling you like, hey, it's okay. Like don't take it that seriously.
It's not that serious.
It's not scary. Don't take it that seriously. Like, look, I'm being silly. See, I'm being silly.
This is a story that I've probably told once or twice on random interviews, but my dad and I, this was shortly after the lady happened, not like the same night or anything, but it was that year, back in 2012. I was 18 years old. I was home for college. Me and Dad would go look outside all the time. We still do to this day, 14 years after the original encounter. And we were outside one night and we were talking, and Dad said, son, they're magical. They're not aliens. They're these magical beings. They know your thoughts. They know your future and your past. And they react to you. And I said, no, Dad, that's crazy. They're aliens, right? Like, I didn't know how to reconcile in my little 18-year-old mind. Right. Like, you know, not to offend any 18-year-olds out there.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like, me back then, I see myself as much younger and much...
more naive, maybe.
Less experienced, yeah.
Sure.
And in my 18-year-old mind, I was just like, you know, they're aliens, but maybe aliens, like, figured out how to, like, contact spirits. And my dad was like, no, I met this, you know, this lady and these beings of light, and they told me that they are angels and whatnot. Anyway, so during that conversation, I just kept telling Dad, like, I wish I could have been there instead of Chris Jr. that original night. I wish it was me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I've grown up thinking that my whole life. Like, wow. I wish I could have been there. And then I ended up having experiences to where I don't care about that anymore. It's like, sure. I don't need that.
Right.
Anyway, so that night in the conversation, I heard, dude, I swear to God, this is one of those weird things where it's like, I'm going to say it. It's weird. It really happened. Like, this is why the CIA was coming to our property and shit like that, because this stuff really happened. I heard a cow. I heard a mooing cow. And then Dad looked at me and said, see, they're trying to get your attention. And I was like, no, Dad, they wouldn't do that.
Was this at your old house?
The Grace Creek house, yeah.
There ain't cows around there.
There's no cows for miles. No, I'm going to tell that.
There's no cows for miles.
Yeah, I'm going to get into that. And then we heard 2 cows. And I'm talking like they're in the yard beside us, like so loud we couldn't hear each other speak while the cows were mooing. And then I ended up hearing a chorus of 4 or 5 cows for several minutes, and Dad and I sat there quietly and we looked around, and like I have a 6-acre yard back then we had a 6-acre yard, and like the neighbor had a fence. To the left of us was very thick woods. At the end of the yard was very thick blueberry bushes. There was no possible way that a cow could have trotted on this yard and we wouldn't have been able to see it.
And for further reference, at that time, Ryan and I lived a quarter mile apart. I know that area like the back of my hand. Nobody around there has cows.
Dude, the next day my dad drove around and went and looked to see if anybody had cows. He found the closest cows we found were out by the Baxley's house, like 5 miles away.
That's, yeah, no.
Yeah, the Baxleys are some of our other really good friends. But
so they were like messing with you.
Yes, the phenomenon was messing with me to get my attention.
Yeah,
they were, you know, it was the kind of the trickster thing. Like, they do things that are funny and silly but profound, to where it alters your perception of them in your mind, where it nags in your head like a splinter, like Morpheus.
It's literally like them going like, "I'm gonna make a silly noise, but it's gonna make you think."
It's gonna mess with your mind for the rest of your life, and you're gonna know like we're playing around, but we are not playing around.
Right?
Like, we're real. Now, when you look at stuff on the TV or on the news of UFOs, it's just that little tic-tac blip, and it's like, oh, it's aliens, blah, blah, blah. It ain't. Like, we don't even know that video is real. Mm-hmm. I'm not just going to take the military's word for it. I mean, were there really weapons of mass destruction? We shouldn't go there. Okay. Anyway.
What if?
What if there weren't? What if the military does lie? Anyway, let's change the subject. Let's
and the reason, by the way, that, you know, this episode is about archetypes, but we're spending particularly a long time on the trickster archetype because we believe...
Because it's the phenomenon.
The phenomenon displays they are the trickster archetype,
and that's not a bad thing. Like, the purpose of the archetype of the trickster is to subvert societal and cultural norms and affect profound change or transformation. Why do you think Loki is such a popular character right now in the Marvel mythos? I think it's all programming. I think it's by design, and it's not a coincidence.
Yeah, and I mean, you really should watch Loki.
I will.
It's only 6 episodes. It's only 6 episodes. Definitely watch it. But yeah, so the trickster archetype is particularly important to like the story and what we're doing here. But also like the hero archetype.
Oh yeah.
Like the hero archetype. This is the archetype of typically the hero at the start of like the journey is kind of a lowly, like just a normal kind of person, or a normal kind of, you know, whatever. For instance, Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker is like the ultimate hero, right? Mm-hmm. He's one of the ultimate heroes. In Star Wars, when it starts, he's like a farmer. He's like a farmhand.
Like Harry Potter, he lived under the cover.
Harry Potter's an orphan. Anakin Skywalker was a slave. Like
Frodo and Sam.
Frodo and Sam are just little hobbits, little hobbits in the Shire, just not doing nothing, just smoking tobacco. And it's actually in the books, it's weed, but it is. It's true.
I didn't know that, man.
Yeah, dude.
That's funny.
Yeah. But it's this.
They're smoking Hobbit hash.
Long bottom leaf.
That's funny, bro.
Leaf. Old Toby. Yeah.
Neville Longbottom.
Dude. Oh,
I'm just kidding. There's no correlation,
but yeah, in Fellowship of the Ring, Bilbo and Gandalf are smoking out on the front porch, and Bilbo says, "Old Toby, it's the finest weed in all of South Farthing." Like they're literally.
I did not know this.
Yeah, it's funny, but the hero, it's not just. I don't know. I feel like when you hear about the hero, you might just think like. Just like a good dude who is good and fights bad stuff. It's not just that. The hero has to go through a journey.
Yeah.
Which in popular,
I personally think most film is based on that archetype. Or like TV shows or whatever.
It's literally called The Hero's Journey.
The Hero's Journey. Yeah, it's a plot device.
You guys should look that up. There's this really cool, you can look at this really cool diagram.
You can take any of your favorite characters and compare them to the hero's journey, and it's exactly what the story is.
Yeah, honestly, you could do that with you could literally do that with the Joker. And he's not a hero.
Bro, like Charlie Bucket. We talked about that. He went on the hero's journey. He passed the test.
He's literally like dirt poor.
He went into the underworld, basically, which is, we're talking mythological comparisons here.
Yeah, you could.
The underworld, he went into the factory. He passed a series of tests.
From the trickster.
And then the final from the trickster. Yeah. And then he had the final battle, which was deciding to put back the gobstopper. And he overcame, he triumphed, and he became the hero.
And he went through all this temptation. There was all these trials and all this stuff. And he faltered at one point, when they
came from nothing and he became like the new Willy Wonka.
Yeah. He faltered when he drank that fizzy lifting drink that usually in the hero's journey, there's a point where they falter and they're at this crossroads where it's like,
they get beat. They come back stronger. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So that can be applied to almost anything.
We really talk about Charlie
Bucket
and the hero's journey. Dude, why don't we talk about why don't we talk about
Luke Skywalker?
Yeah, like Luke or like Goku or something.
Or Link from Zelda.
We're talking about Charlie Bucket. Charlie Bucket.
He's the ultimate hero.
See what effect Willy Wonka has on our minds, dude.
Yeah.
He's a trickster.
The point.
We really eat his candy.
That's true.
We eat his candy.
That's true. Which, by the way, another parallel that Ryan pointed out in terms of the egregore thing with Willy Wonka. He's the Candyman.
Yeah, he's the Candyman.
And the movie Candyman is literally about an egregore. It
is about an egregore. I'm just repeating you at this point.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
So anyway, the hero's journey is much more important than just a protagonist. Because honestly, more characters than just protagonists go through the hero's journey. There are plenty of examples of when the antagonist, dude, Anakin Skywalker goes through the hero's journey. And he becomes...
But his hero's journey is extremely dark.
It is extremely dark.
He enslaves half or more than half the galaxy.
So that was his... Okay, hang on. You just said something really funny because if Charlie Bucket's version of faltering is drinking a soda... Anakin Skywalker's
slaughtering
children and enslaving the galaxy. And he did it for 20 years or something like that, 30 years or something like that. So everyone's...
Batman's hero's journey, he got his ass beat by Bane, he got his back broken, he came back stronger.
He comes back stronger.
Goku, like the Saiyans, every time they get beat, they come back stronger.
Especially Goku.
Oh, yeah.
Goku loves getting beat up for some reason.
Vegeta's new form, dude.
Vegeta Ultra...
What is it called again?
Ultra Ego.
Ultra Ego.
Yeah. It's like Goku has Ultra Instinct, which is he can move super fast and out of the way or whatever. And Vegeta's new thing is Ultra Ego. But anyway, so the hero, that's a super important archetype, not because it's an example of perfect good. That's not the point. The point is the journey. The point is the lessons learned along the way. Frodo, perfect example. If you're Frodo, it's his burden to take the ring to Mordor, right?
Right.
It's his burden. But his journey is very wrought with failure and doubt and darkness.
And whining.
and a lot of whining and oddly sexual faces when he gets stabbed. Like he makes a lot of, there's like compilations, but so his example of the hero's journey is like a really sad, dark, version of the story. He ultimately like his burden is completed in the end, but that's because of arguably, so there's a lot of arguments. It's like, who's responsible for destroying the ring, right? Is it Frodo? Is it Sam? Is it Gollum? Is it, is it because Gollum was the one who technically like bit Frodo's finger off and tripped into the lava? So the hero's journey is slightly different for each character. I think in the Lord of the Rings, Sam is a more quintessential example of the hero's journey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He kind of fulfills his role in all of the quintessential ways that a hero does. But hey, while we're talking about Lord of the Rings, why don't we transition to the next archetype that we'd like to talk about?
What?
Might be your favorite other than trickster, the sage.
I do like the magician too, but yeah,
the magician is. You know what? Gandalf kind of fills both of those roles. Gandalf is like the magician and the sage, and also kind of a trickster in a way.
Yeah.
Like he like shoots off little fireworks and like, he's a whatever. But so the sage archetype typically is like the wise mentor, right?
Right.
Let's say, episode 4, Star Wars, that would be Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
He's the sage. Episode 5, Yoda. Yoda is the sage in that one.
He's also a trickster. He's a silly little green man.
Yeah.
So here's what I wanted to go into. Like usually, have you noticed with the sage archetypes and most of our favorite mediums? I mean, the list goes on and on and on.
Oh yeah.
Have you noticed they're usually like silly and giggly?
Yeah, they are.
They have reached a point of mastery in their craft where they have come to understand that humor makes the heart lighter. Like, I don't know, like Jiraiya, like Naruto's mentor.
Oh my
Master
gosh.
Roshi, Goku's mentor. Yoda.
Dumbledore. There's endless examples, and usually
Black Clover's the same way, like the Wizard King. I don't want to, no spoilers for anybody out there, but like the Wizard King in Black Clover, he's super giggly. He doesn't giggle, but he's super funny and lighthearted.
Dude, Naruto is literally a toad sage, and he's like silly and eats ramen and whatever. He's like a silly goof. But yeah, the sage archetype usually has a degree of this like whimsy.
Let's throw another weird little off the wall correlation. Bo Burnham healing the world with comedy.
There you go.
I personally, and Nick Hinton, again, he's this friend of mine who we would love to have on the podcast sometime soon.
Yeah.
And he's an awesome author. But Nick Hinton and I will have these phone chats, and we have these profound discussions about the mechanism of humor and how it can affect societal change. And that's what I think the trickster archetype is. But like humor, the sage archetype, whatever, when you come to the point in your life where you realize you can laugh at your troubles, or you can laugh at yourself, or you can laugh at this or that or the other, whatever, I think humor is the effect by which you can transmute something negative into positive. That's why this podcast is what it is. That's why it's silly. I could have come out here and I could have been like, my dad had this experience, like, F all these people, it's this way and it's that way. But no, we're just having fun with it.
We're having fun, because it takes that, like you said, it makes it less serious. Because at the point where you take your most traumatic experiences and you say, you know what,
bro? I'm pretty.
What's gonna stop you then? What's gonna hold you down then,
dude? I'm pretty sure there was some weird government and culture shit that happened to me growing up, and you know what? It's funny.
Yeah,
it's funny. It's funny because it's like here I am.
Because you're past it now. You've overcome it.
Yeah.
And now we're able to make light of it and heal it through comedy.
Yeah, healing the world through comedy, baby.
Yeah.
No, but like I don't think I'm healing the world, but I think again, my theory here is that there's these profound archetypal truths that are being okay, let's take a step back. I think artists, you get into what we've talked about previously on our show and how right-brained people, we're all right-brained here. We're musically inclined, artistically inclined, and I've got some left-brain characteristics too. Like I'm very analytical about certain things, but ultimately, creative types, artistic types, tend to, according to some research out there, tend to be more in tune with like highly psychically intuitive downloads. And I believe that the artists of the world are really picking up on powerfully resonant messages out there in the ether, in the consciousness field, in the Akashic records, in the morphogenetic field, whatever you want to call it, right? There is this field, there is this invisible force where all data and information in the multiverse is stored, right? I don't know, quantum physics, whatever, whatever you can imagine it in your mind. Artists are picking up on that. Artists, typically right brain type people, are the ones who experience the phenomenon in the first place. Now, I'm not picking on left brain people. I'm just saying everybody has different gifts. Everybody has different abilities. Left brain people tend to be way more like mathematic and pragmatic and scientific minded.
Yeah.
That's great. That's needed, also for the advancement of human consciousness.
For sure.
But anyway, so what I'm getting at here is I think that there are profoundly talented artists, musicians, painters, movie makers, writers, directors, whatever, who are picking up on some deeply profound messages and putting it in their art.
Yeah, we talked about that with The Matrix.
Matrix, yeah.
There's so much symbolism.
Like archetypal truth, symbolism, whatever, being put into the films. I don't think there's just, maybe you could say there's like a conspiracy that there's people trying to advance consciousness. Maybe what's happening here is it's the evolution of the collective soul, and there are artists who are being born and they're just picking up on this stuff and we're all like figuring it out together. I don't know. Like, think about it how you want to think about it.
Yeah.
But there are archetypal truths in films, and that's kind of like what we're getting at here.
I think that's the importance of why we're talking about archetypes, is because if you know some of these archetypes and you know the roles that these archetypes fulfill, it can make it easier to understand a lot of this stuff and why some of this stuff is the way it is.
Right. Where do you want to go from there, dude?
I don't know. You want to talk about some more archetypes? There's a few more. So I had a question, if you don't mind. From what you know about archetypes, what exactly would be the difference between like the magician and the trickster?
I have no clue. Dude, I broadly study so many subjects that like I have all this stuff swirling around in my head, man. Like, I'd have to research it. But I'll tell you what, my life path is the magician. Like, numerologically, my life path is a magician. So if you,
nice.
So we can find yours right now, dude. So Pythagoras.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll do a life path calculator. It's just Pythagorean numerology. So you take the digits of the day you were, and listeners, follow along. You can do this too, and you can find your numerological life path.
I didn't even know this was a thing. I'm about to do it right now.
Here's a quote from Socrates: "The mark of an educated mind is one that can explore ideas without accepting it." So like, look, just follow along. Who cares if you believe in numerology or astrology or not? Aren't you curious to find out what it might say about your life path? So you take the day you were born, the month you were born, and the year you were born. So like, for example, yours is June 15th, 1994.
Right.
You take every individual digit. So what is June? The 6th month. So you would take 6
then
plus 15 plus 1994. And what you're doing is you're reducing it down to one number. That's your life path. Mine is 1, which is the magician. So you could just Google life path calculator and it'll do the...
Yeah, I just got it. Mine is 8.
Now Google tarot card number 8.
Tarot card number 8. Fortitude, strength, magnanimity. I'm not seeing like a card. What is the 8th tarot card?
I don't know. That's not the Hermit, is it?
Justice.
It's not the Hermit? That must be 7. So then what you would do in your own time is you would look into the symbolism and the archetypal meaning behind that tarot card, and that will probably resonate with stuff about your life. And then you also could just like Google life path number 8. Now with this kind of stuff, there's a lot of kooky stuff out there on the internet, and everybody who in this whole new age stuff wants to have an opinion, and that's great. But there's a lot of really diverse opinions out there.
Yeah.
So like I would read like 10 articles about life path 8 and then find all the correlations
and
between them.
And
kind of cross. That's what I do. That's how I come to my conclusions, is if there's 10 people saying something kind of similar, I'm going to cross-reference. That's my left brain working.
Look at the similarities.
Right. So that's your life path. Mine is life path 1, which is literally the first tarot card is the magician.
Yeah, so we need to look into that and see.
That's why I make comments all the time on the pod, like, bro, I'm a magician, bro. like numerologically.
Yeah, this one is strength. This one is number 8 is strength. So I'm gonna do some research and figure out what that is. But if you guys, if you put your birthdays in and you find your numerological number, reference that to the tarot card. Comment. We want to hear. We want to hear about all this stuff. We're figuring this stuff out together. Everybody.
Yeah.
We don't have all the answers. We're freaking idiots.
The one answer that I confidently would die on this hill. Really, I would. I would die on this hill. I would die on this hill.
All right.
But not literally. I don't want to die.
Okay.
I don't want to die. I have a long life ahead of me. I want to have kids.
Yeah.
I want to make twice born music.
Yeah.
But I would metaphorically die on this hill. And that hill is, they are lying about aliens. They are lying. Don't trust institutions. Don't trust the people who have the power and the wealth and the influence to snag spots on the media. You know, like the people who are on the news, who are on TV, who they're telling you about this or that or the other. They're probably very well-connected, influential, wealthy, political, whatever. Like they're all. I believe this. They're all a bunch of liars. I would die on that hill.
Dang, man.
Illuminati, whatever you want to call it.
And to think about how profound or how common it is.
It's class warfare, dude.
Well, think about how common hearing about aliens. You know, that's like all anyone's talking about right now.
Why the lie?
Right. Why the lie?
Why the lie?
That's yeah.
Because what if there was a collective consciousness that we all experience? Imagine we're all like a little tiny piece of that big consciousness. There's one consciousness, right? We're all little pieces of it experiencing different things so that the big consciousness, the whole one, can grow. And that like when you learn the lessons that your soul was meant to incarnate over and over again, and you know, just learn the lessons in general, I believe you return to that one consciousness. And I believe we all are on this evolutionary journey of the soul together. Kind of like, well, I don't want to talk too much about 2001 because we wanted to do an episode on that.
But hey, I want to piggyback off what you're saying. It's about evolution
of consciousness.
So if we're all on a path of consciousness evolution, then these archetypes can help you understand your role in that, understand everyone's role in that, what you have to offer.
Also, it's like Neo seeing the code of the Matrix. Like when you understand the archetypes and how they're imprinted all throughout your life, you're like starting to see, oh my God.
It's like, wait a minute.
This is a matrix of overlapping archetypal imprints.
That's why it's so important to what we're talking about. That's why we wanted to do an episode on it. And
Carl Jung is the one who popularized this, and he was an occult psychologist. He's one of the most famous psychologists of all time. I had to write so many freaking papers and so many essays on him when I was in college. And it turns out he was an occultist the whole time, and his archetypal stuff was not just psychology, but it was some profound spiritual stuff. Just Google Carl Jung, Jung. Yeah, but I think, you know, why the lie? Because if we're all on an evolution of our consciousness on an individual and on a collective level, I think there are definitely some people who are born into these influential families, whatever, who have this knowledge, and they want to keep all of us dummies a little bit suppressed so that they can keep making all their mega billions and trillions, and their corporations can just profit off of our stupidity and ignorance.
Yeah, and if you know about archetypes and you know the significance of them, they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know your role in furthering the collective consciousness, because if you have an idea of your role or some of the roles that crop up around your life, it's almost like a roadmap to the path to like the ascension of the collective consciousness. It could be looked at as like a roadmap or a path. You know, it can help you stay on the path. And so, you know, if their agenda truly is to keep us away from that, then it would make sense to suppress that information and try to prevent us from realizing our true potential as a collective.
Exactly. And again, I don't want to go too dark here, but I got to keep my conscience clear. I feel like some of these things I really should say. I mean, if it helps one or two people, great, I did my job.
Exactly.
If it helps nobody, well, it's a catharsis. It
helps you.
It's cathartic for me to talk about these things, because most people in my daily waking life won't listen. So whatever. If anybody listens, thank you.
Thank you.
But
sincerely.
I do believe that you know, they're lying to us. And I have met some of these elite connected people, and when they meet us in private, they're talking about like angels and multidimensional things of that nature. And then all I'm seeing on TV is blips of Tic Tacs, and they're talking about threat analysis and things like that. I just think you should keep your eyes peeled, and anything you see on the television, for the love of God, don't just eat it up like slop on a trough. Like don't you know,
take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, take it with a grain of salt.
Do your own research.
Just pose the question in your own mind. why would the most powerful, influential people in the world, I mean, think about it. If you go on TV, you've got some influence, right? The regular like news pundits and things like that, and movies and Hollywood actors and all these opinions out there in these elite connected circles. You should pose the question in your head, what would they gain if they told us all the truth?
Right.
What would they gain? They would lose a lot more if we all realized, oh shit, like we can remote view and stuff.
What you're saying is they know that if we did realize our true potential,
there'd be an awakening.
Yeah, there'd be an awakening.
What would they gain from telling the truth that these beings of light have not only visited my family, but other people, and the government has evidence of them, and it messed with them at Skinwalker Ranch and things like that? Because, dude, I've had conversations with people in the CIA and other little, like, Army intelligence and other clandestine groups. And, like, I know they were messed with at Skinwalker Ranch. Like the phenomenon was like, you ain't gonna get a leg up on us. It messed with them.
That's something I don't know much about. We need to have a conversation. We should maybe do an episode or include something about that, because that Skinwalker Ranch is something I don't know much about.
Dude, I've had people in the psychic spy program and other clandestine people come to my property, and the phenomenon messed with them on my parents' property.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
like it's
and like scared them or something. Like,
so the guy who put the death threat on us many years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, he made some comments. Swear to God, an orb showed up behind him, and he was so freaked out. He made a comment like, "If you don't tell the story the way we want you to, we could put a bullet in Chris Jr. or Yvonne's head." And I know who he was. I know his name. I know what member of the CIA and DIA sent him to our property. I just don't feel like, they deserve air. Like, I don't want to open that can of worms saying their name.
You don't want to put a spotlight
at this present moment.
Sure.
But they still mess with me. Anyway, this guy came to our property, and he like made a threat or whatever, and literally an orb appeared behind him, and it freaked him out so bad. And my dad, like I said, he's Man of Steel, bro. Like, my dad would take anybody down and not even freaking blink. Seriously, he's a tough dude.
He's awesome.
And he looked at this guy and he said, "Turn around. You know it's there, don't you?"
Oh,
and the guy slowly turned around. He saw the orb. He never came back.
Wow.
So now all they do is they just mess with me on Twitter. These Pentagon program people whose job is disinformation. But let's change the subject. I don't want to get that's some really traumatic stuff. But,
yeah, for sure.
Anyway, it messed with them. And also, I believe this. Dude, think about it. Everything you see on the internet about like, Juice WRLD was sacrificed to the Illuminati. Isaac Cappy was sacrificed to the Illuminati. I don't necessarily know that all that stuff is true.
Right.
I think a lot of that is fear programming to like scare anybody from.
Dude, they could it
could all be fake.
Take advantage of like, oh, hey, this celebrity died. Let's spin it and make it look like maybe it was, the Illuminati.
I don't know that they really do that. Maybe they do. I mean, watch Eyes Wide Shut with Stanley Kubrick. That's a good movie. And like, it's a weird movie. And it's very dark, and it's very mature, very graphic. Like, make sure you if you watch that movie, look it up.
Yeah.
Like before you watch it.
Yeah.
But in the movie, I guess you can't really spoil this movie. It's more like it's a wild ride. It's an experience piece. But in the movie, by the way, Stanley Kubrick, dude made Shining, 2001. Like, he's one of the best filmmakers that will ever live. And in this movie, he revealed so much stuff. It's speculated he may have been killed
for revealing.
He supposedly died of a heart attack 4 days before the movie aired, and Warner Brothers cut 24 minutes. But in the film, the Tom Cruise character shows up at this weird party. I'm not going to say the nature of the party.
Super weird.
But it's weird. He shows up at this party, and they all have on these Venetian masks and everything, which, by the way, that's some, there's a festival in ancient Venice where everybody would wear these Venetian masks. And like for one day, there were no rules. Kind of like a purge.
Oh, whoa.
Anyway, weird, orgies and things like, I said I wasn't going to say that. Anyway, now you know what the movie's about. It's very weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the Tom Cruise character sneaks into this party, and he gets caught by these people, and they're doing some weird like satanic ritual stuff,
chanting like in reverse,
chanting stuff in reverse. And Tom Cruise is like found out, and they're gonna basically kill him. And one of the I don't know if I should say this. One of the girls of the night at the party basically lays herself down, and she's like, "I'll take the penalty." And then the next day, Tom Cruise reads in the newspaper that a very famous stripper or something like that died of a drug overdose, and it was the girl from the party. So the point of the film is like, dang, a lot of these celebrities that die, maybe it's something weirder.
Maybe it's deeper.
But I don't know. Maybe that's fake.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way of knowing for sure.
I don't know. But anyway, how do we get here?
ADHD.
Oh, yeah.
It's the ADHD.
Yeah, for sure. No, but like, I don't know. Like, they're definitely lying. I really don't remember how we got here.
That's all right, dude. We covered I think we covered our few favorite archetypes in this episode. There are more. Like, we listed them earlier. Go check them out if you're interested. Like, there's a lot to this archetype stuff, and we kind of just barely touched it here, but we're really interested in it, and I think it's important to what we're talking about. So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we could end it there if you want.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.